Yeah, we live. But you don't got the microphone over here. Come on, brother. Slacking on your pen. All right. Let's get in here. Turn the camera. Boom. Come in. Tight. Right there. All right, it's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commanding General YAHANNA. Let's turn that up a little bit. Mic check, mic check, mic check. That's better. All right. So it's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commanding General YAHANNA. It is Friday, Lashawan Qadash class, where we get into our culture based off of our tongue, all right? So Lashawan, of course, is tongue. Qadash is holy. That is the dialect that we speak. We get into our language, breaking it down line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, to bring out the nuances that are in the scripture that aren't otherwise transliterated in English. And a lot of things that just aren't transliterated. All right. We're going to start off this class like we start off every class with the Hebrew alphabet. So if you would repeat after me. And all right. Let's back the camera out. Okay. All right. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. We were going over past, present, and future tense, giving you some understanding and basic person in which you're talking. You know, of course, with the anya being I, atha you, how I, he, haya I, she, anak noah, we. You got ham and han for they. You have a thumb for you all, and then you also had a thon for you all, right? Each one being a different one, okay? All right, so I don't think we finished. All right, so we were breaking down the present tense of shamar. We stopped at he and she, hawa and haya. All right, so we'll pick up from here, finishing off present tense. I'll put that right there. All right. So the word that we are transliterating again is shamar, right? So shamar means to watch. That is a station that we have in the school. Shamar is security. All right. So why security means shamar? Because that's what we do on security. We watch. We watch out for danger, right? So a couple of the examples that I have up here, right? So we have Anya Shawamar, all right? So just quick review, all right? So basic rules, all right? So the first basic rule when we deal with present tense, we add a "wa" between the first and second letter, right? Okay, so Anya, which we know is I, Shawamar means to watch, all right? Next, we have a the, Shawamar, all right? So a the, of course, means you, but this is dealing with the masculine sense, right? So a tha is gender neutral, right? It can be both masculine and feminine, but how do we know that we're dealing with the feminization of a word, all right? The feminization of a word, we add a ha at the end for it to be feminine, right? So right here, we have a tha, shawamara, all right? Okay, all right, so quick review, all right? For he, all right, we know he is Hawa'ah in Hebrew, all right? Of course, the masculine sense would be Shawamar, right? Okay, keeping the first rule, all right? And then for she, we have Haya'ah Shawamara, all right? Which is the first and the second rule because we're dealing with the feminization, all right? So keep that in mind as we progress, okay? So we're going to move on. I will keep. This part. All right. Okay. All right. So next. All right. So next we have. All right. So next we have a knock Nawa. All right. Okay. So a knock Nawa. All right. And then this word turns to. All right. Okay. Let's see. Add a little section to this. All right. So we got a new rule. All right. So the sentence that we have here, we have Anak Nawa Shawamariam. All right. So we know anak noah from our previous lesson means we, right? Now, is what is we singular or plural?
Singular.
Is we singular or plural? It's plural, right? So when you have a pluralization of a word, not only Slocky spelled this wrong. All right. So when you're dealing with pluralization, okay, we have the first rule, right, where we add a "wa" between the first and second letter, but it's plural, right? So we add "yum" at the end, right? So anak nawa shawamarium translates to we watch. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're gonna move on to the next one. All right. So we're going to be adding on, still dealing with the third rule. All right. So now we have all right. So now we have a thumb shawamarium. What does a thumb mean? If a tha means you, what does a thumb mean?
Y'all.
That is correct. Give that brother a hand. That is absolutely correct. All right. Means you all, or in Texas, we like to say, y'all. All right. All right. But what is specific about a thumb? Who is a thumb addressing?
Males.
Who?
Males.
That is correct. Give him a hand. All right. So this is dealing with the masculine sense, dealing with a group of males. All right. All right. So now we're gonna add something else to the mix. Do I got room? Yeah, I'll just move this. Got somebody at the door. Okay, so we got a new rule to add to the list of rules for present tense. All right, so when yum is at the end of the word, everything toward, I just, hey, shalom, Lord of Christ, all right? All right, so when yum is at the end of the word, it's masculine plural, all right? Because we know that a thumb is dealing with the masculine, right? So quite naturally, we got to have something that addresses the feminine, correct? All right, so when you're dealing with the feminine pluralization, you add Y at the end for the plural feminization feminization of the word. All right. So what we're going to have here all right. So what we have here, we have a thun, right? So a thun means the same thing as a thumb. It means you all, right? But we know that this is directly attributed to the feminine. Well, how do we know that off the top of the I'll give you an example. When we do the salute, Shalom, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shabbarakathum, right? That's to a group of brothers, to a group of sisters. And Shalom, Yahweh, Shamar, Al-Athan. All right? Okay? So, Athan means you all or y'all, pluralization for females. But remember, for the pluralization rule, we add a what at the end. So, it's going to be Athan, Shawamar, Wath. All right, which means the exact same thing as above. You all or y'all watch. But in this case, it's talking to a group of women. Okay. So far, all right, we got new rules. All right. So we got when it's a pluralization, all right. So a natural pluralization when you're in mixed company is going to always be young, right? It's like saying you guys, right? If I say you guys to a crowd, like, hey, you guys, quiet down, right? And it's a mixed crowd of men and women, right? I'm not calling women guys, right? So does anybody know where this comes from? Why is it when you talk to a mixed crowd, you say you guys, right? And not you guys and girls. Does anybody know where this comes from? Go ahead.
So I got one. Is it because of rank and order and the men have lower rank, so they're more
You're close. You're real close. Make it practical. So, okay. So it goes back to antiquity, right? So like same thing. So if I say, if I'm talking to a group of people, right? What's the word? I think the word for people is, hold on, I think it's Eliadium. Hold on. 2-letter. Hold on, bear with me. Hold on. Do it this way. All right. I was right. So the word for people is young, right? Okay. So if I say Yum Yah, Shemai, my people. All right. So yum is plural for group, right? So that's just like me saying you guys, right? So I'm saying that in Hebrew and I'm saying that to a group of men and women, right? Why am I allowed to say that? Because yum is masculine, right? What's the history behind that?
Males first.
I'll give you a hint. When Christ fed the 5,000, he sat them down by what? Was there men and women in the 5,000 that he fed? When Christ fed the 5,000?
Sir.
It was? But who was counted? It was what?
The men.
It was the men, right? But when Christ was addressing the crowd, right? He was addressing everybody, correct? Right? So give me the breakdown on why when you're talking to a mixed crowd of men and women, you can say you guys, right? Or just say yum, which means people, which is masculine. Make it practical. So when Christ fed the 5,000, right? The 5,000 that was numbered were the men. It was not including their families. Okay? So why is it that it's okay when I'm addressing a mixed crowd to say you guys?
Because you're addressing the men and the men address their families.
Give that brother a hand. Give that brother a hand. That is absolutely correct, right? So it's the same thing when we say anak nawah. We, if I'm addressing a mixed crowd of us, right? I'm going to say anak nawah shawamaria, all right? We watch, all right? Okay? All right? Now, right? When you're only addressing a group of female, it's the wife, right? Okay? All right, so we're going to move on. All right? So next we have, boom, 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 boom. All right, so next we're going to be dealing with they. All right? So still the same rules apply. All right. So next we have Shawamariam. All right. So we know from previous class that means what? What does mean? They. It means they. Give that brother a hand. All right. Now, what they is it talking to?
Men.
How do you know that?
It's the masculine way of saying it.
All right. If you didn't know that, by looking at the phrase Shawamariam, how would you know that it's talking to a group of men?
It says yam at the end of shamar.
All right. And that means what?
It's the masculinization, pluralization of the plural masculine way of saying it.
That is correct. Give that brother a hand. That boy say, I'm not just gonna be a young man. I'm gonna be a trooper. I'm not just gonna be a trooper. I might be an officer one day. All right. So quite naturally, you have the feminization. I mean, the masculinization. You gotta have the feminization, right? All right. That was ugly. Somebody's out there. All right. So next we have Han Shalamar Y. All right. So we know that based off of the rules, right? So what can give you a couple of inclination to break down a word, right? Or a subject of a word, right? Is the adverb that follows it and how it's conjugated. All right. So based off of our rules, all right. So we see a "wa" between the first and second word, correct? All right. So we automatically know this word is present tense. All right. Based off of the rule for present tense. Okay. All right. Now we know that if a "ha" is at the end of a word, it's feminine. Okay, we don't see a "ha," right? All right. If a "yum" is added to the end of a word, it's masculine plural. What's going on, brother?
Yeah.
Doing all right? Where's your tablet?
Oh, I got it.
But you knew you was coming to class, right?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
All right. No sweat. All right. Okay, so we know that when you have "was" added to the end of a word, all right, it is plural feminine, correct? All right, no sweat. So based off of Han Shawamar Wa, just off of rules alone without knowing the subject, we can assume that this sentence is what? Yabakan.
Plural and feminine.
Get that brother a hand. All right. So this is the feminization. All right. And of course, it says the same thing as it says above. All right, they watch. All right, so, okay, this is the end of present tense. All right, so a quick review. All right, the rules of present tense. All right, you add a "wa" between the first and second letter. All right, the word that we're conjugating is shamar. All right, that is the root word, shamar. All right, shamar means to watch. All right, so when you add a "wa" between the first and second letter, this word conjugated in present tense is shawamar. Right? If you looked up the word or typed the word shawamar in Hebrew, right, you wouldn't find the definition of the word, right? Because it's a conjugation of a root word, all right? Okay? The next rule that we had, if you add a "huh" at the end of the word, it's feminine, all right? An example of that was when we did a "tha," right? A "tha shawamar" is "you watch," but if you're talking, that's if you're talking to a group of brothers, that's if you're talking to a brother, singular, right? But if you're talking to a sister, you would say a "tha shawamar ra," okay? Because the "huh" is added at the end of the word, all right? Okay, the next two rules dealing with pluralization, right? You add a "yum" at the end of the word if it's masculine plural, right? Now, there is an addendum to this rule, Yabakan. If you would so politely tell us the addendum that you so eloquently gave when we were talking about when Christ was talking to the 5,000.
Men that when you're addressing a group of people, you address the men, and the men will deal with their women and children and their families.
That is correct. That's why in English, when you're talking to a congregation, you can say, "Hey, you guys, quiet down." And it'd be a crowd of mixed company of men and women. That rule comes from antiquity of language, right? All the way back to Hebrew and before that, right? Because, go ahead, brother.
So like that just brings up a question that I had.
Go ahead.
Hebrew was not the first language?
No, it was not. Hebrew is not the first language. Sanskrit is the first language, right? Hebrew is the oldest spoken language today, right? So you have Sanskrit, you have Paleo Hebrew, you have Egyptian, right? The hieroglyphics, right? Then you have the Assyrian Hebrew, right? Then you have Greek. Then you have Aramaic. Then you have Latin, right? That's the history of language, right? And that's how, when you're dealing with scrolls based off of the language that it's written in, you can tell what era it was written in, right? And in our case, you can tell what captivity we were in, right? If it's in Paleo, Assyrian, or it's a Greek manuscript, okay? No sweat. All right. So the examples that we have here, of course, are a thumb, shawamar, all right, which is you all or y'all watch, whether you're dealing with a group of men or you're dealing with a mixed crowd of men and women, right? If you're dealing with just a group of women, it would be a thon shawamar wa, right? Same thing where you're dealing with they. Hum is they for men. Shawamariyom, or a mixed crowd of men and women, speaking in third person, or Han Shawamarwa, when you're dealing with they, a group of women, speaking exclusively in the third person. Make sure you have these notes down. This is the end of present tense. I believe what we're about to go into next is future tense, I believe. No, we're going to go into past tense. All right. Yeah, go ahead. All right. This is going to be very imperative to have in your notes, because once we go through all of these tenses, we're going to start bringing this out in the scriptures. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to write a scripture up here on the board, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to write the phonetics, and based off of the phonetics, y'all are going to transliterate it, and y'all are going to tell me whether this sentence is past, present, or future, right? Because it's the Israelite School of Universal practical knowledge, right? Practical means everyday usage, right? You can ask your Grum and Yahweh. Do we not read Hebrew every week? We're going to be reading Hebrew tomorrow, right? The more and more you get familiar, right, with words, right? And that's why I use certain words over and over again. Words like shamar, words like debar, words like amar, right? Words like anya, atha, athon, because you're going to see these words over and over again, right? You're going to see, for instance, Hayama Shah Amar, and Moses said. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna see these words over and over again. The more and more you become familiar with them, when you get up there and read, your first time it may be intimidating. Was it intimidating the first time you read Yabakan?
Nah, sir.
It was. You know what I'm saying? But once you get up there and you're live in front of the entire nation, it lets you know how important it is for you to take your language seriously. Right? Because you don't want to be up there sounding like a bumbling fool and a bumbling idiot. Right? Because everybody has to read.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From the captains on down. Right? So the way the order of ceremony goes during a Sabbath, you have the two highest ranked men that sit on the end, right? On each end, and then the reader that sits in the middle. But in the beginning, right? So you have the highest ranked man. He's going to read the prayers that we're going to say in English. But the lowest ranking, highest ranking man that's up there, he has to read all the prayers in Hebrew, right? So nobody gets around it. I mean, if you were at Passover, were not the generals reading the prayers in Hebrew?
Hey.
No one gets away from not knowing your language. It's no excuse. And it starts here. Okay? So does everybody have this written down? All right, no sweat. Hey, you grown, time check.
8:47.
8:47. All right, so we're getting to past tense. It is like so. All right. All right. So next we're going to go into past tense. All right. Does anybody know what the word past is in Hebrew? Well, before that, I didn't give you what present means. All right. Okay. So the word present in Hebrew is Haya. All right, which means to be. All right. Let's see. I'll write it out for you. I mean, all right. So in Hebrew, all right. So Haya, all right, means to be, as in present, like as in being, like to be. Go ahead.
So like I don't want. I mean, could that be used as a verb too?
No, not. This is not to be confused with the transliteration that's used in transition when you have that juxtaposition right there, right? So the only time that's going to be used as a verb is when you see that a juxtaposition before, which means it's closely related to another word, but still, it's still going to be referring to a state of being. All right. Make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, no questions. All right. So this was present tense. All right. So Haya means present. Okay. All right. So
I don't know that one.
oh, Siri. Alexa, you diabolical sneaky heifer.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Alexa, be quiet. Thank you. All right. So the next one that we're dealing with past tense. Okay. So all right, so next we're dealing with the past, I bar. All right, I bar, all right, means past. Okay, all right, so just like with present tense, we have rules. Okay, all right, so what was the rule for present tense? What was the first rule? This little person got their notes here today. Oh, you grown? Go ahead. You grown? I mean, not you grown. Yahweh.
So like the first rule was what, and after the second, in between the first and the second.
That boy got a photographic mirror. Get that brother a hand. All right. Now, I'm going to give you something that's mind blowing. As complex as the Hebrew language is, it's very simple. All right. So present tense, the transliteration was right in the middle. So for present tense, the transliteration was right in the middle. Dealing with past tense, where you think the transliteration gonna
At
be?
the end.
Give that brother a hand. All right. So the first rule dealing with past tense. All right. Gonna add a ya at the end. Sounds like someone's outside. All right, of the word. Okay. All right. Okay. So the word that we used last time was shamar that we were going to transliterate. All right. This time, all right, the next word we're going to be transliterating is lamad. All right. Does anybody know what lamad means? No, it's not what lamad means. Lamad means to learn. All right. So this would be the word. Yes.
But we do the past tense for watch.
It would just be the rules that we're going to go over.
Oh, okay.
Right. So there's no difference. It doesn't matter what verb you're using, the rules still apply. Right. So I'm just giving you a new word so you can learn a new word. Right. But if you were to add the rules that we're about to go over for past tense with shamar, right? Matter of fact, that might be your homework. Right. They will apply. All right. It's the same thing. All right. So, first sentence that we're going to be dealing with, all right? All right, and for space and time's sake, I will only be writing in paleo. All right, so what we have here, we have anya, lamad, thaya, right? What does anya mean? That is correct. Give that brother a hand. All right, anya means I, right? And the next word is lamad, thaya, all right? So, based off of our rule, when you add thaya at the end of the word, it means what?
Past tense.
So that would mean that lamad thaya means what?
Learn.
Learned. That is correct. Give him a hand. All right. So anya lamad thaya is I learn. Okay. Let's see. All right. And this is gender neutral. This is for both masculine and feminine. All right, there's no different rule for either. All right. Move on to the next one. All right. So next we have Atha Lamad Thaya. All right. What does Atha mean? Yabakan.
You.
That is correct. Give him a hand. All right. And from precedent study, we know that Lamad Thaya means learn. All right. Now, trick question. All right. So, who is this talking to? If I say Atha Lamad Thaya, who is this talking to?
The person that they're in the conversation with.
I mean, that's clear because I'm saying you, right? But who am I talking to?
You.
Is it a woman or a man?
No, it is not. So this is still first person because I'm talking to you, right? Okay. So Atha Lamad Thaya, who am I talking to? Who is the you that I am talking to?
Us.
Huh?
Us.
No, that would be
You are.
that would be like they. It's us. That's all inclusive. Right? So who is the you that I'm talking to?
One man.
Who?
One man.
That is correct. Give him a hand. All right. So this is dealing with the masculine sense. So if that's dealing with the masculine sense, that means we have a new rule to deal with the feminine sense, correct? All right. So the new rule is we add a at the end for it to be feminine. All right. So same thing. All right. Just gonna do a double line here. They're just gonna let you know that same thing, still a the. All right. All right. This now changes to all right. This now changes to Atha Lamada. right? So when you're dealing with I, no matter if it's masculine or feminine, right? You say anya lamataya, right? Okay. When you are dealing with you, as I'm talking to a person, that person is of gender, right? Okay. So it's going to be, if you're dealing with a man, ata lamataya. If it's dealing with a woman, we have our second rule. You add a huh at the end for it to be feminine in past tense.
How come it's AH instead of HA?
What's right there?
Connected. Connected.
Right. What type of connector is there?
Word.
Huh?
Word connected.
Anybody want to help him? What type of connector is right here? Yabakan.
It's a letter connector. It connects the two letters.
And what does that mean when you connect two letters together?
They combine.
Talking Yabakan. You didn't know the answer. Yabakan. So what does that mean when you connect two words together, letters together, versus when you have a...
You make a new sound, sir?
So what is the new sound? So what's the difference between a open parentheses under a word, under a letter, and a closed parentheses between two letters?
When it's open with one letter, it's the original sound of the letter.
Okay.
When it's closed between two letters, it's a combination of the sounds between both letters.
So, but what changes though? What changes for the second letter?
The first letter is taken off, and it's only the last letter. It's the first letter is the full sound, and the second letter is going to be only half of the sound.
That is correct. All right. So this isn't la ma da ha. It's la ma da. See what I'm saying? You understand now? Nike? You understand now?
It's just I get it, but it's like switch. Instead of it being hot, it's hot.
Okay. All right. So the word by itself is lamad. Right? Do you understand the difference between lamad and lamada? Doesn't that sound different to you?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just the rule, right? It's like me, difference between me saying you know what I'm talking about and know what I'm talking about. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. It's connected, right? So the word is the vowels aren't separated, right? You're joined together, and when you join, there's no need to use the last part of the second vowel. It's redundant. See what I'm saying? Gotcha. All right. No sweat. All right. Let's see. We get a time check. All right. I'll do he and she, and then we'll stop there. All right. All right. So for he, all right, you have Hawa Lamad. The word is exactly as it is written. Okay? This is the only time in past, present, and future the actual root word is used as is. All right? With he in past tense. All right? So this here translates to, of course, you know, Hawa is he, and then Lamad learn. All right. Okay. And then the feminine sense, we have Haya. All right. What?
Probably got two. It was locked.
Why would your car get towed? Call Officer Ron. All right, so all right, so we have Haya, which is she, and then we have the rule. We add the HUD at the end. All right, which is learned. All right, we're gonna stop right here. Does anyone have any questions before we pick up here next week? All right. For homework, you're going to do these first two rules. You're going to conjugate shamar. Okay? All right. So you're going to use these first two rules for past tense. You're going to conjugate the word shamar. All right? What we went over last week. All right? So with that, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Shalom Yahal Shamar Lathan by Slaki. Shalom Yahal by Shem Yahal Brakatham. And to the sisters, Shalom Yahal Shamar Lathan by Shem Yahal Shah. And with that, we gone. All right.